Hello, this is Trisha. Welcome to my first paper pumpkin video. I have just received my very first paper pumpkin subscription box in my mailbox, and I'm going to open it up for the first time, and I thought I would show both the unboxing and the completion of one sample of each product design within this box. So this is the paper pumpkin box for April of 2022, and everything that you need to complete the projects are included in this box. So let's go ahead and open it and take a look. Okay. So let's see what we have in here. So because this is my first box, I have a Welcome to Paper Pumpkin flyer, and there's some basics in here about how to use my stamps and some helpful resources, some links that I can check out if I want to get some basic information for beginner crafters. So that's something that you want to check out. It's a nice resource. There's also a flyer in here for the May 2022 Paper Pumpkin box, which is called Celebrating in Color. And this features the new in colors for 2022 to 24 that'll be featured in our new annual catalog that's coming out. So it just gives a little teaser for what's to come. You can see there's a QR code that you can scan to get a closer look at that. And then in every paper pumpkin box, you will get an exclusive stamp set and at least one ink spot, which is just a small version of the classic Stampin' pad full size that we have. And this is Melon Mambo. So it looks like we've got a beautiful butterfly and some texture, little caterpillar, and some great greetings in here. In your first paper pumpkin kit, you will get a stamping block. As a paper pumpkin subscriber, your first kit comes with the block, and then all your subsequent kits can be used with just the same Stampin' paper pumpkin block. Okay, all the stamp sets are designed to be used with this size block. So you get this in your first kit, and then you hang on to it and save it to use with future kits. And then you have kind of wrapped up like a present in here, real exciting in the tissue paper. You have all of the contents of the kit. So let's pull this out. I'm going to set my box aside. Of course, this is a nice sturdy box, so I can save this to keep my finished projects in or to store supplies, or I can repurpose this, decorate it, and use it for something else. So let me set that aside for now. And let's take a look and see what's inside the kit. I'm going to just use some scissors to open it up. Okay, I've opened up my kit and I've got all my supplies laid out in front of me, including this instruction brochure. And you can see in here you've got color illustrations that show you step-by-step instructions for completing the projects as they are designed. So it looks like, by looking at the brochure, that we're going to have 3 cards, 3 different designs, and 3 cards of each. So a total of 9 finished cards. And there are 9 envelopes with beautiful liners on the inside. So white envelopes with this really pretty coordinating design on the inside. And it looks like these are some fun fold cards. So we'll see when we get into it how these projects come together. So with your brochure, you will always have step-by-step instructions for each project. So you can see project number 1 will be labeled here. And when you're following along, you're going to follow like the visual steps to go through the project. The little hexagon outline shapes will represent your dimensional foam adhesive. You almost always have a ruler guide along the edge of your along the edge of your brochure, which is helpful for measuring and aligning things. If you have any embellishments or ribbons, you can use that. Doesn't look like we have ribbon in this package, but sometimes you do. And then on the back of the package, you can see like an overview of all the details of the kit, a couple of additional projects that you can use if you don't want to follow their exact instructions, and a link to a how-to video for completing the projects in this kit. So what I thought we'd do today is just follow the instructions exactly, step by step, so you can see how to assemble each of the 3 designs in this kit. Okay, so in your brochure, when you open to this first page, the bottom flap, and it has project number 1, project number 2, project number 3, this is going to show you which supplies out of the kit that you need to complete project number 1. So you can gather up those supplies together and have them on hand to complete the first project. Then you would flip open your instructions and look for project number 1, and then it tells you the step-by-step things to do. So I just thought I would make you aware that first it tells you the supply list, and then it goes on to tell you step-by-step instructions. I should also mention that included in my kit was some dimensional foam adhesive. As I said, there were not any glue dots in this kit, so there must not be any flat gluing. This is just our foam dimensional adhesive, so you get a whole pack of those. And then there are also these beautiful sort of natural shaped pearlescent gems that are really pretty, that are going to be used apparently on projects in this kit as well. So those embellishments were included. And other than the supplies in the kit, the only other thing I might need would be a pair of scissors. You may or may not need, but good to have on hand, and everybody's got one around the house. These are the paper snips from Stampin' Up. And then sometimes, if there is adhesive needed, I do keep my Stampin' Seal nearby. That is not required, but sometimes it's just a little quicker and easier for me. I'll also probably use my D block from Stampin' Up. I just keep my ergonomic blocks nearby. Again, when I'm demonstrating on video, I just find this a little bit easier, but that's totally optional, and these are all products that are available from Stampin' Up as well. Everything else you need is all inside the kit. So let's go ahead and look at the pieces that we need for project number 1. So we're going to need this black polka dotted piece with the florals. Look how pretty that is. Has like this turquoise polka dot on the other side. That's so pretty. So we're going to take one of those. And then we have these die cuts, and everything in the paper pumpkin kits always comes pre-cut, and they're just, oops, I've got 2 of them here. Let's separate those. And they just kind of pop apart, like they're perforated. So all you need to do is kind of gently pull the paper apart between your hands, and it'll just pop right out. So it says we need one of these large pink flowers, and then it looks like 3 small, or smaller, like a yellow flower, and then 2 little yellow flowers. So I'm just popping them right out of here and just kind of wiggle those free. Pop right out real easy. So I've got the yellow flowers. It also says that I'm going to need this white banner that has the pink edge. So I'm going to go ahead and free that up from my sheet. And then a couple of stamps, a few, these little tiny blue shapes are representing these embellishments. So I'm going to need a couple of embellishments. I'm going to need my block, the Stampin' Spot, and then a couple of stamps from the stamp set that was included, which I have right here. So that should be all the materials that I need for, oh, and as I mentioned, these little hexagons represent the foam adhesive, the dimensional adhesive. So I'm just going to keep those nearby, and then everything else, other than my instructions, I can set aside for the moment. So those are my supplies for project number 1. Let's flip to the instructions for project number 1. Okay, so we can start with our stamping. So it's telling us here, this icon represents my ink spot, which is this one right here. And it's telling us that we are going to stamp the sentiment that says beautiful things take time right onto the little label. And then we're going to stamp the little, I don't know, it looks like sort of a floral or just a textured pattern onto this part right here of the card. And then the sentiment that says, I believe in you, we're going to put right in the center of the card. So let's go ahead and get started with the stamping. Rather than use the ink spot that's included in my kit, I'm just going to use my full-size ink pad just because I find it a little bit easier. It's certainly not necessary. I have the old style of the Mellow and Mambo ink, but that'll work just fine. And then I'll just set this aside. The little cardboard that comes in your kit is very handy for stamping on. It just gives you a little bit of a softer surface to stamp on, so you can use that. Or if you happen to have the Stampin' Pierce mat, that's another very nice surface to stamp on and helps you really get a great impression with your photopolymer stamps. So let's follow the instructions here. Hopefully you can see those. So we want the stamp that says, beautiful things take time. So we're going to peel that one right off. And I am going to mount that onto my block. And that goes right here on my label. So I'm going to ink that up with the Melon Mambo. Make sure I've got that nice and inked up. Stamp that down on my label, just like that. And give that a quick wipe. My next stamp is this little texture. It looks to me like it's kind of reminiscent of flowers, but it's kind of hard to see. We'll see when we stamp it down. But it's telling us to put the little texture stamp down in the lower corner right here of our card, and it's kind of overlapping this white piece and the turquoise. So let's ink it up and we'll overlap it down here in the corner, just like that. So it's kind of a floral feel and a little bit of texture. The next stamp says, I believe in you. So we're following right here. It's telling us to mount our stamp onto our block, ink it up with the Melon Mambo, so let's do that. And we are going to stamp that right in the middle of the white part of our card, just like it says, just like that. Okay, that's it for stamping on this card. And that was step 1. So step 1 was those 3 stamps, which we've completed. So step 2 is telling us to fold. You can see the little diagram up here, hopefully. And there's a couple little arrows that tell us to fold our card. So we have, this is the card right here. It wants that one folded in, and it looks like that one folded in. Give that a nice little crease. So if I look at the way this second picture looks, you can see this little bud and you can see part of these leaves. So it looks like it must come this way. So I'm just following the pictures to get it to fold the right way, just like that. And then that was step 2 to get it to fold. Step 3 is to put dimensionals on the backs of our little die cut elements. So let's go ahead and close up our ink pad because we're done with the stamping for this one. Don't want to get our project into the ink pad. So let's put some dimensionals on the back. So on the large flower dimensional, or on the large flower die cut, it's showing 3 dimensionals. So let's go ahead and do that. And they're kind of spread out throughout the center. So we've got 3 of those. And then there's one large yellow flower that has a dimensional right in the center. And then these 2 small yellow flowers, these guys. If you look at the diagram here, it's showing the scissors next to the dimensional, and it looks like they're cutting the dimensional in half and putting a half of a dimensional on the back of each one of these. So the dimensional as a whole probably is a little too big for these, so we're just going to snip it in half. And a lot of times what I like to do is to do that along my edges. So I'm just going to do a little snip on the edge. So I'm going to take a little piece from the edge, make sure it fits on the back. I'm going to work. Mine might be a little too big. I might have to cut it a little further. Just snip a little more of that off. And can you see that I'm working on the flower? I'm just putting a little bit more. So now I've got my 2 flowers with a little bit like fraction of a dimensional on each one. And then it shows us where to put these 3 things. Oh, I didn't put dimensionals on my label yet. So do you notice that in here they show the 2 dimensionals up against the straight edge of the label, not this banner edge? They're all the way over here. And that is on purpose because when we adhere this like that, we want this to be able to open, so they don't want anything sticky back here. Otherwise, it'll stick the card closed. So that's why they're telling you to put the dimensionals only here. So if you follow the instructions, it'll make sure to function the way, the card will make sure to open and close the way it's supposed to. So they've got 2 dimensionals right down here by the straight edge. And then it shows a picture of how they want us to assemble all of that. So let's get my Stampin' mat out of the way so you can see maybe a little better. Clear things out. So the first thing is the label. To use these dimensionals, you just have to peel this top little layer off. That reveals the stickiness on this side. And then they have that pretty close to the top and pretty close to the edge. It looks like, see if you follow the design, it looks like it's covering this long green leaf just a little bit. So let's put it like that. Kind of make sure that it's straight. That's pretty. And we have our large flower. And the way they have that positioned is over here on the right with the 2 leaves facing this way and the 1 leaf facing that way. And it's completely on this flat back piece of the card. It has nothing to do with this piece. So we're just going to put that over there. So let's take the little release papers off of the dimensionals and put this over here. I'm trying to see about where they put it so that you can still see some of that green behind it. There we go. And then we have the largest of our 3 yellow flowers, and I have that down here kind of in the corner. So I'm going to peel the dimensional off, and I am going to stick that down in the corner. And then we have our 2 smaller yellow flowers, and peel that little sticky thing off. And looks like they've got 1 up here above this leaf, and then 1 down here sort of separate. So I'm going to peel that release paper off. And that guy goes down here. Okay, so we're done with step 1, step 2, and step 3. And for step 4, to finish off the card, they are telling us to take 3 of our little embellishment gems, and they are sort of placed down here, right here by the foot of this little bud. So let's open our package. And we're going to put these guys down here, 3 of them. So you can go ahead and just peel these off with your finger. They're already sticky on the back. Ooh, they're so pretty. They're like almost like moon rocks or something cool. There. Okay, and that is our completed card. You have this pretty fun fold card that when you open it up has the change from this tiny little bud or like sprout, I guess, to the bud, to the flower, and then the full large flower over on the right. So it's kind of showing that progression of how beautiful things take time. And then on the other side of the card, you could write a message under here where it says, I believe in you, or you could even add other things back there if you'd like. But how cute is that? I love it. Okay, and that was super simple to follow the instructions to pull that one together. All right, let's move on to the second design. So again, let's flip our brochure back here to where we see the components of the second design, which are one of these long sky blue pieces. We've got that. We need the little caterpillar die cut, one of those. We need the butterfly die cut. One of those guys. Then the stamps, we need sort of the sideways facing butterfly, the one that says, I'm so proud of who you've become, and may this new season hold wonderful new experiences. So we need our stamps, we need some dimensionals, some of the embellishments, and then of course our block and our ink. So that's all we need for this card. Let's go back to our instruction page for card number 2. Okay, so we'll start with our stamping, and the first thing is the sentiment that says, I'm so proud of who you've become. So let's pull that sentiment off of our stamp set. Put that right here on our block. Sometimes I find it easier to just set the stamp down and then just pick it up with the block. So it looks like that is going to be stamped right here in this cloud in the white space. I'm going to bring my Stampin' mat back in. It's just, I'm a creature of habit. I like to stamp on this mat. And my Melon Mambo ink, which is the exact same as the ink spot that comes in the kit. I'm just going to ink this up, and then they want that right here inside the cloud. Give that a quick wipe. My next step is this larger sentiment that says, may this new season hold wonderful new experiences. So we're going to put this one, oh, there we go, put this one back on our sheet and pick up that stamp with our block. This sentiment, so it's telling us put ink on there, put this sentiment inside the white box on the other side. So we're going to flip our paper over here to where the big white box is, and then let's stamp our sentiment right in the center of this white box. There we go. Okay, our last stamp from the instructions is to ink up our little butterfly stamp. There's 2 of those butterflies in the set. There's one that's a full, like, forward facing and one that's kind of off to the side. So they have us using this one that's off to the side. So we're just going to put that on our block. And that's going to go right next to our sentiment on this big white square. So right about over here. Let's go ahead and ink that up. And there we have a pretty little butterfly accenting our sentiment square there. All right, so that was step one. That was all of our stamping. We're done with the stamping. I'm going to go ahead and put the ink pad away. We're on to step two, which is folding the card into the fun fold design. And it looks like we're facing the card this way. And this one is folding in like this. And then this is folding forward like that. So I am noticing a mistake that I have made, and hopefully by watching this you can avoid the same mistake. If you look at where they stamped this sentiment in the cloud, they stamped it way over here to the left side of the cloud. And the reason they did that is because when you close this, then you wouldn't see that little tail of the sentiment hanging out. So no big deal. You can always put an extra embellishment there or something to cover that up or to camouflage it. I'm just not going to worry about it, but you can, of course, learn from my mistake. So we have done the folding. That's step two. Now we're on to step three. And step three is telling us to put 3 dimensionals on the back of our caterpillar and 3 dimensionals on the back of our butterfly. So let's grab our dimensionals, and we are going to put those right on here. Those are a tight fit, so you got to kind of orient them the right way so that they stay invisible. Here we go. And same thing with our butterfly. Have one out on either wing and then one that kind of tucks in the center right there. Okay. So it's showing us I have the little caterpillar right on the leaf. Taking my release paper off, and they've got the little caterpillar kind of crawling up this green leaf right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that guy there. And then take the release paper off. And they have the butterfly up here. Now I'm wondering, see if I put my butterfly anyway down here to camouflage that, I'm not going to like how it looks. So I might have to find some other creative way to do that, but I'm sure I'll be able to. So I'm just going to put it exactly the way they had it up there. And there's my butterfly. So that was step 3, putting on my 2 die cuts. Step 4 is to add a few of those fun little embellishment gems, and it looks like those are going right on the leaf next to our caterpillar. So I'm going to bring in my little gems, and it's saying to put 3 of these in here. Cute. Very, very cute. So that one opens from the caterpillar to the cocoon to the butterfly, and you see the metamorphosis along the way. That is super, super pretty. And then the back of that card says, "May the new season hold wonderful new experiences." That's really cute. Okay, so that is our second card complete. Let's move on to card number 3. Ooh, this one looks like a kind of a sun and moon card. Start back here on our contents. So we need one of these sun and moon papers. So if you look, you've got the black and the stars on the one side, and then the bright sunny sky on the other. So that's the paper that you need for number 3. we need a couple of these cutout clouds. So there's one, and there's one. There's two of them, and it does look like we've got one that face in either direction. So make sure you get one that's sort of puffier on the left and one that's puffier on the right. Okay, and it says we need one of these stars, a yellow star. I'm going to get that guy out of there. And then we're going to need a stamp, some of the dimensionals, and some of the embellishments, and then of course our ink. So let's go ahead and move on to the directions because we've got all of our pieces. So step one, the directions for this one. You can see the top box is showing, let's take our pieces off of there. If we fold this into a card, our top box is showing how it starts. And then the second one, the second illustration, is showing that the color is sort of peeking through here. So you might notice that this has some cutouts. So you can pop out that moon and a couple of these stars. So we're going to go ahead and pop some of these out. And they just sort of poke out real easy. You can kind of do it with your fingernail or maybe even the edge of your scissors to just get it free from the paper around it. So you can kind of see what I'm doing here. If I close this back up, you can see the stars that I've poked out are revealing the blue from the inside of the sky, and the moon is revealing the yellow from the sun in here. So let's keep popping out the rest. Now I am going to keep all of these little star pieces because those could definitely be used on another project. And if I haven't mentioned it yet, my plan is I've made now one sample of each of these cards. The kit has enough ingredients for you to make 3 duplicates. So you would make 3 of this card, 3 of this card, and 3 of this one we're working on, and you would have 3 exact sets. But what I'm going to do is I'm making one sample of each of the designs as it's instructed in the kit, and then I'm going to take all the leftover pieces and think outside the box a little bit and see what other creative projects that I can come about or develop using these same supplies. So I'll put out another video with some alternate projects in case you want to try some other designs using these elements. So I will definitely save my moon and all of my little stars and keep those. They could maybe be incorporated into an alternate design. So back to my instructions, it's telling me to pop out all of those little stars and moon, which we've done, but it's also showing that we've added the clouds there and that we've added a little star. So actually that looks like it's step 3. So we're not going to add those clouds just yet. We're going to do our stamping first and then we'll come back and do the clouds. So for step 2, we're just going to add a sentiment right down here that says every day is a new day. So let's go back to our stamp set, pull off that sentiment, put our butterfly back on here. Pick that up with our block, get our Melon Mambo ink back. I'm going to check my placement this time. I learned my lesson last time. So this one appears to be kind of over towards the right of that cloud. So let's drop our sentiment in right there. And according to our instructions, that's our only stamping for this card. So that's all we need our ink for. I'll close that up. Now we're going to put those embellishments back on the front of the card, our die cuts. So it has us strategically putting some dimensionals on the back of these. Okay, so if you flip the cloud over and you look very closely at the directions, the cloud that is puffy on the right side when it's flipped over, but puffy on the left side when it's this way, you want to put the dimensionals over to the left in the skinny part because it looks like it's going to overhang our moon a little bit, and we don't want anything sticky going into the interior of the card. So we're going to put our dimensional over to the side. And then it looks like we are going to do the same exact thing on this one. Put it over on the skinnier side. And they're showing 1.5 dimensionals for each. So I'm going to do exactly what they say and put another 1/2 of a dimensional. Again, I just used my paper snips for that. Tuck another 1/2 a dimensional in here on the little tail of the cloud. So hopefully you can see these. I'm just showing, when I put them on a black surface, you can see them a little bit better. So the one that's, when you have them flipped over, the one that's shaped with the puffier side over on this, you want the dimensionals to the left, and then the opposite for that one. It's also showing 1/2 a dimensional behind this yellow star right here. So we'll cut a little piece of dimensional and tuck it behind our yellow star. If we can fit that on there. There we go. Okay, and then according to the diagram, it's showing our yellow star right at the top of our little shooting star. I think my dimensional was just a little too big, so I'm gonna cut the excess off. There we go. So they have that star right up here, kind of at the top of that little comet tail. And then the cloud that's shaped like this, they have down here with the top of it sort of overhanging our moon. Peel the paper off of our dimensionals and pop that into place. I'm trying to keep the bottoms of the clouds parallel with the edge of my card, so it looks like it's nice and even. And then this cloud, I'm going to peel my papers, and this one, they show that kind of up here in the middle. Looks like the tip of it is right at this blue star, and it too is overhanging our moon just a bit. But that's okay because our dimensionals are on that side, so nothing is going to stick to the inside of the card. So you've got this really cool peekaboo type card that looks through to the interior of the card. So when you open it, you can see it's got all these holes in it, and it goes from night to day. Every day is a new day. Isn't that cool? All right, and then they've taken a few of our little gems and they've put them in the trail of the shooting star. So we'll take 3 of those, which is what they are telling us, and put a little bling on our card. There we go. So I have finished all 3 of my cards. I think they are so cute. I love the pretty colors. I noticed that in my die cut sheet, I have 1 extra flower, and I'm wondering if I could get away with putting that flower like this somehow so that it covers my boo-boo with, I think I can. I think I'm gonna do that. This is not part of the design, but this is just me trying to fix a mistake here. But if I put this flower, let's see, if I put this flower like that, it covers up my stamping so that you can't see it, and I could have it be attached to the front edge so that it still stays part of the design. And then that would cover my mistake. So I think I might do that because this appears to be an extra on this sheet because I've got multiples of these sheets that are enough to complete other projects. So just thinking ahead about how I might correct my mistake. Having said that, these are the very pretty, fun, bright, springy projects from this month's Paper Pumpkin Kit. Super easy. I think anybody, very beginner stampers, can do this. It does incorporate kind of some fun folds. So it's a really fun, special type of card to receive with the dimension and the fun folds in there. In the kit, you have the matching envelopes for each one. So you can pick which envelope, let's take a look, would pair with each one. So I think I would put my stars with that card. And then I might put my pink here and my little blue and green along with that one. So you've got these beautiful coordinating envelopes for your projects. And those came together in no time at all. So you could build or assemble 9 cards really easily. You could do it on the go because everything that you need fits right into your little box. Just maybe toss a little scissors in there with you and take it on the go to do your project. And you'd be in great shape. So thanks for tuning in to take a look at this month's Paper Pumpkin. I will have a link to Paper Pumpkin below if you're not already a Paper Pumpkin subscriber and you're interested in trying out these little fun boxes of inspiration that arrive in your mailbox each month. I would love to have you as a subscriber, and of course would love to be your demonstrator and help you out with any Stampin' Up! Needs that you may have. So I will put a link to Paper Pumpkin in the description box below. And then, of course, please stay tuned and check back with my channel. If you like this video and subscribe to my channel, you can click the bell to be notified for future videos. And I will come back and show you what other alternate projects that I make with all of the leftovers that I have from this kit. Also, a quick reminder that even after I've used up all my goodies, if I've used all my envelopes and all of my die cuts and all of my card bases and everything, I will always have my stamp set and my ink spot to use again and again with future projects and to start to build a little collection because these, because these items that come in the kit do not get used up. So you can keep these, hang on to them and incorporate them into future projects. And nice thing about Stampin' Up! Is they do not repeat the same ink color in a 12-month period. So as a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you'll start to build a nice collection of Stampin' Spot ink colors. Thanks again for tuning in today. As I said, be sure to check out the description box below to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And we'll see you back real soon with some alternate projects from this gorgeous Change is Beautiful Paper Pumpkin kit. Thanks so much.